Hello everyone, this is Jill here to give the Purdue versus Iowa post-game recap. Final score being Purdue 79, Iowa 72. As you can see, I'm in a different environment again, traveling with family right now, so thank you for bearing with me, and also, just being patient with the environment and some other outside noises and things like that. But nonetheless, wanted to give a really quick, hopefully one take of my thoughts on the game. And I think it boils down to the fact that Big Ten is a really tough conference no matter who you're playing. You should never overlook any opponent, no matter what the spread says, because I think it's been proven the past 4 years in particular that every Big Ten team is, giving the top ranked opponents in the Big Ten, the top tier, their best shot game in, game out. And it's really important that we, one, keep the opponent that's in front of us focused on that, and to also just think about the bigger picture. How does every single game in this conference lead us to being a better team when March comes around? And I think this was a really great game for fans of Purdue and basketball fans in general to see a couple things. One, it showed Purdue was a really gritty team when things got tough. I think there was a lot of adversity in this game. You can say that Purdue's performance was mediocre at best, and they were still able to find a way to win, especially against a team like Iowa that's very physical and was shooting lights out that game. They ended the half 7 out of 10 from 3 and ended the game overall like 55% from field and from 3. So the fact that Purdue was able to win when they were not shooting very well or not shooting at their very best is, really great strides towards just a better team and, better mentality for tough games. It was very high possibility that once Iowa got ahead by 9, that this game was going to be put away by Iowa. But luckily, they were able to find a second gear and really take matters in their own hands and focus on just getting the next bucket, moving to the next play, and finding stops to get us to the finish line. So that's really what I took away from this game and what I tried to focus in on, because this very, very tough team that I was, kind of gave Purdue, and they were really trying to gun it for a win, because I think they would come off of 2 losses that maybe one of them wasn't expected and one was a bit of a no contest, but it probably should have been, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be totally wrong. But, think about all the adversity that Purdue had to face. Our 2 big men, which, TKR, Oscar Clough, they had 2 fouls to start the half, really. So they were kind of limited in their playing time there. And that was probably one of the biggest advantages Purdue had against Iowa was their size. They probably had their tallest player, maybe matching up with Clough height-wise, but weight-wise, not so much. So we should have been extremely competitive on the boards and, a tough matchup in the paint. And just for one reason or another, that, kind of turned a little bit in the first half for Purdue. Another thing that I'd like to point out is that everyone that played in the game scored for Purdue. So the fact that we have that depth, that competitive edge from all of our players is great to see. Just shows how diverse our shooting capabilities are, and, is something that's going to be really important down the stretch, especially for away games. And, in a home environment where it's really friendly, I'd like to see those bench players, again, just continue to improve and get more confident with their shot. I want to highlight Jakari Harris. I think while the box score may not show it, I think he had a stellar game. Just had so much energy in the second half in particular that really propelled the team forward. Same with Braden Smith. I don't think you can say this game was a win unless Braden Smith started scoring and, being really efficient on the offense and defensive end. And he ended the game with 16 points and 8 assists. So really great to see that. And just another thing I will say is with some of our previous teams, we've had a player that has this competitive edge that maybe we haven't seen in a couple years, or maybe hasn't been very visible. I think it's very apparent that Braden Smith is the guy that we're turning to for that competitive edge, game in, game out, and is going to produce for Purdue when he needs to. And if you heard his podcast, he has very high expectations for himself and then for his team. That's great to hear. I want to see that continuously. And, hopefully they can take a lot of these lessons learned. There have been a couple of games where both Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, even TKR, have said this has been a poor performance from us and we need to get better and we need to do better. So what are they going to do to change that and get themselves in a better position? That's going to be really important. And, it's a long season. So just take it game by game, improve bit by bit, and then when March rolls around, let's play our best basketball. That's really what I'm hoping to see. I think I did see this on Twitter as well about how our, catch and shoot players need to be able to, have a little bit of a dribble penetration into the paint and then a pass out to the corner, like the Jack Benner pass to Omer Meyer in the corner for that three. I think that was something that was missing from last season's team, where our shooters really were just meant to catch and shoot. There wasn't a lot of ball handling from them and a little bit static, I would say. And I'm really excited to see these young guys have great ball handling skills that are able to create an offense as the play starts to break down and things like that. So that was really great to see from Jack Benner, kind of drive to the paint and then kind of pass the ball out to Omer for a great shot. And again, he had 2 clutch threes that really helped keep us in the game in the first half. So that was exciting. Jakari Harris and CJ Cox both had some clutch threes in the second half that were responses to Iowa shooting lights out. So kudos to them for having that edge to them. And I'm just really excited to see how everything's been going for this team. And it doesn't feel like it, but we're getting better bit by bit. We're just waiting for all the pieces to come together at the right time. Time to be patient, but we can still have high expectations for this team and for this conference season ahead of us. And I think they're ready for it. We'll, take it game by game. And next up, we do have Purdue versus USC at USC. That's on Saturday, January 17th. I think it's at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So that should be a really fun game. It should be an exciting matchup and hopefully, a good competitive game for Purdue. USC is a tough opponent. They've been ranked a couple times here in the past few weeks, so certainly won't overlook them. And yeah, I think that really sums up what I'm thinking about. While in past seasons I would feel very nervous about this type of game, I actually felt very calm and excited that we were able to, again, win against a team that was shooting lights out when I think we probably could have shot better, performed better, and, played to our strengths better. And I think at the end you saw more of a competitive edge, but that was maybe not seen a lot in the first half. So kind of what I was thinking about, and it should be, I think this is a really great game to get on our belt too, for the fact that maybe after the Iowa State game people thought we didn't have that competitive edge that people are looking for. At a certain point in the Iowa State game, we started to lose confidence in ourselves and let the game kind of get ahead of ourselves and lose a lot of that spark. And after the game, I think a lot of people were wondering if Purdue just gave up, if they're not competitive enough. And I hope that after this Iowa game, people see that we are competitive enough and we're able to still fight and prove ourselves game in and game out. And we'll see how we do for USC. So that's coming up next. And yeah, thanks for watching this and thanks for being patient with me. Appreciate it. And we will see you in the next one.